Do that again. Like we didn't record we didn't record like all week last week. I'm like, and we just figured out going live, and then I was like, hey, I was gonna press, and he's doing an amazing intro. Something is wrong, and now all of this will be recorded, so you see just how fucking organized we are. Anyway, Mr. Radio, go.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hashtag Coffee. That is Corey Cottrell. I am Greg Smithwick. We are the hosts, the co-hosts, the men in charge, scary as that might be, of Hashtag Coffee, a show where every weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern we get together and we talk about what this president means. And we are not here to argue with people who support this president. We are here to support people who understand the grave mistake made by electing a known grifter and racist to the White House. And it's, you know, this, I think we're going to consider at the end of this presidency, where whatever form that takes, a cautionary tale for being careful about who we elect. And I have some good stuff queued up today to talk about.
I want to mention, you know, like there's a few people that are like, oh my God, he's not going to leave. There is, and we always talk about like when he's like, hey, I might just go for 3 terms or 4 terms. Ha 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 ha. Just kidding. In more libertarian circles, which is the only place I've seen it because I don't spend any time in Trumplandia. They're already talking about getting used to the idea of 15 years of Trump. Like as a real thing that, I mean, politically, these people are not the most astute or educated human beings on the face of the earth, as evidenced by everything else that they post. But it's an idea that's now percolated into, like, it's like, like this is how it dies. Right. This is how it dies. And I mean, you know, it doesn't matter how many times we say it, but we're going to keep saying it anyway, because what the fuck else are we going to do?
Yeah. And I think a lot about what our role is in this. You know, I sometimes feel like we're not doing enough, but frankly, what we're doing is important. And we want to give you shelter and daylight and a place where you can come and you can, you can get recharged and make sure you're not being gaslit, because people are going to tell you that a lot of the things that we say are not true. We try really hard to source these things and make sure that we're talking about them from legitimate journalism points of view. Sometimes the links that we provide are to, you know, websites that have an agenda, but the source material is the source material, and it's being done by actual journalists who have to contend with the journalistic ethics of what they report. For instance, the first story that I want to talk about this morning is not the story about. Sorry, I'm doing 3 things at once here. Sure. It's not the story about Dorian or the story about the airplane refueling issues. It's a story that we warned before he was elected, and we continued to warn after the election that his connections to and his dealings with the Russians were going to be difficult to see in any kind of a good light. So CNN is out today with an exclusive story. U.S. extracted a top spy from inside Russia in 2017. And I'm actually going to read a little bit from the article. In a previously undisclosed secret mission in 2017, the United States successfully extracted from Russia one of its highest-level covert sources inside the Russian government. Multiple Trump administration officials with direct knowledge told CNN. A person directly involved in the discussion said the removal of the Russian was driven in part by concerns that President Donald Trump and his administration repeatedly mishandled classified intelligence and could contribute to exposing the covert source as a spy. The decision to carry out the extraction occurred soon after the May 2017 meeting in the Oval Office, in which Trump discussed highly classified intelligence with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and then Russian Ambassador to the U.S. Sergei Kislyak. By the way, those are 2 names that come up repeatedly in the Mueller report. The intelligence concerning ISIS in Syria had been provided by Israel. Now, remember, we talked about that. We talked about, that, oh my God, that's terrible, he can't do that. And the sad truth, the terrifying truth is, yes, he can. The President of the United States has enormous power, and that includes disseminating classified briefing materials on a whim. Last week we had the conversation about the photographs of the Iranian missile site. People are like, he can't do that. No, he actually can. And that's why who you elect to that office is so critically important. Aside from the political issues, and I hate that women's rights and safety of our children are partisan issues. Aside from political issues, the actual espionage risk of having a president who plays fast and loose with that material is terrifyingly real. So essentially, the decision was made that because of the enormous danger of discovery, because of what Trump was sharing with others, including secretly with Putin at the G20, that they had to get this person out, and they did so. And I think that's a fascinating story, and it's the building pile of evidence going all the way back to the very first months of the Trump presidency that indicate this is a person who is not fit to serve in that office because of his propensity to do whatever self-serving thing he wants to do to meet his ends without really considering the risk and the reality. Furthermore, the asset we're talking about is almost certainly a Russian citizen. Okay, but the CIA case officers that are handling that asset are Americans. And if they're caught doing this, they could be killed, right? So he literally put American lives at risk by sharing this information. So I thought that was a good way for us to start today. And it's that thing where if you really want to get terrified, there's a Radiolab podcast that basically a guy in the 1970s who was part of the Nuclear Command Infrastructure sued the U.S. federal government. He was removed from his position because he asked a question. And the question was, can anyone stop the president of the United States from launching nuclear missiles? And the answer is no. But he was removed from his job for even asking the question. If the president decides to launch a nuclear strike, there is no framework for stopping him from doing so.
There's only one. The guy carrying the football can take his sidearm out and shoot him in the head, and that's it.
Coup. That's a military coup.
Yep.
Right, and that's the moment we lose our fundamentals, our fundamental democracy. That's the moment.
I mean, honestly, let's face facts. It's gone. Right now.
It's
we might fight to get it back, but it's gone right now.
It's at the street, and the garbage truck is coming. Okay, yeah. Right. So we still have time here to save ourselves from this. But one of the things that's most disturbing to me about the Republican argument that they just let this president do whatever he wants is that when President Trump is gone and we elect President Elizabeth Warren, she's going to get to do all these same things. Is that the world Republicans really want? Where a president can do things by executive fiat that they find damaging and terrifying, like refunding Planned Parenthood because she feels like it? Is that what the conservatives in my world want? I don't think it is. But what they're doing now is setting that up to happen. It's not even the risk that this president poses, although that's considerable, overwhelmingly terrifying to most of us. The reality is that if this president is allowed to do these things with impunity, then we've set a low bar for future presidents of whatever party.
Yeah, well, and both parties have been guilty of conceding too much power to the executive for the last 40 years, basically.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. We've gotten away from the War Powers Act, from congressional support for wars. Although the last time we actually went that route, I think the only two people in the room that didn't vote for the war in Iraq were Bernie Sanders and a small handful of radical leftists that didn't support that war.
Wasn't it Anne Maxine?
I can't remember.
I think it might have been. There was one black lady who was like, "Fuck you and your war." She said it better than that, obviously.
Yeah, probably. Although that would have been.
I need to know now, because if it's, I don't think it is Maxine Waters, but it's somebody.
There's two bodies in question here: the Congress and the Senate. The House and the Senate. So there may have been there's a handful of people that voted against.
Oh my God! It's fucking.
For some reason, thought Barack Obama was one of them. But that was before he was a senator. So
yeah. Man, 20 years ago. Jesus Christ.
Right.
It was 20 years ago.
Yeah. And so we find ourselves in a situation this morning where the president tweeted out over the weekend that he had a plan to have the Taliban, senior leadership of the Taliban, come here and meet with him about a peace treaty. Now, Sheila Jackson Lee, says David Stokes, and he's
right. Thank you.
So the thing about that is he issued some statements about it and why he canceled it. And the Taliban actually tweeted that no, that's not why. The Taliban actually, contested that statement from. I'm trying to find the tweet and I can't find it. Sorry, I thought I had it up, but I don't. The Taliban actually contested the reasoning that he gave, and I found myself in this unbelievable position of thinking maybe the Taliban were more believable on this issue than the president of the United States, which is mind-boggling to me. So here, I found it, and I'm going to share it because it's, here's the thing where a few days ago, we finalized an agreement with the American team, the text of which was addressed to the leaders of both teams and submitted to Qatar. Everyone was satisfied. It was agreed that the country of Qatar would announce it. At this time, the disappointing President Trump's tweets have been unbelievable and certainly damaging to his credibility. Ladies and gentlemen, a moment where the Taliban statement is actually more believable than the President of the United States.
I mean, that isn't even surprising to me. Yes, they've been our enemy for a long time. They lie less than the president because literally everyone lies less than the president.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, so I think we've reached a 20,000 lie threshold now, a provable 20,000 lies.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
10, I feel like it was 10,000 5 seconds ago. Oh, okay. Let's find out because you're probably right.
I read that in a tweet this morning. So
here's the thing, like, it's only a matter of time, right? Like, it's not an if. Like,
let's ask ourselves, is it significantly different if the number is 16,000 or 24,000?
Right.
No. The president lies a lot, all the time, constantly, which makes him completely, unviable. He's a self-inflicted lame duck as far as negotiating with foreign governments, because no one believes anything he says without reading, without looking outside to see if the sky is blue.
That's exactly it.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and there's more heinous stuff going on around the world as well. But I was interested in the spy story because it goes to exactly what we said. He's burning sources and methods, and why would the Israelis ever be motivated again to share information with this presidency, with this administration, even if they knew something bad was going to happen here, if they risked an asset that they had spent decades developing?
Yeah.
Why would they burn their source, for a president that doesn't give a shit what he says out loud? What else is going on? This is the Donald Trump tweet thread. Unbeknownst to almost everyone, the major Taliban leaders and separately the president of Afghanistan were going to secretly meet with me at Camp David on Sunday. They were coming to the United States tonight. Unfortunately, in order to build false leverage, they admitted to an attack in Kabul that killed one of our great soldiers and 11 other people. There's that thing again where only our soldiers are great. Everyone else is just other people. I immediately canceled the meeting and called off peace negotiations. What kind of people would kill so many in order to seemingly strengthen their bargaining position? We did that. They didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it comes up a lot, right? I know a lot of people in the military, and I absolutely love them, and they're fantastic for the most part. It is a real issue that we fetishize people in the military in this country. Every single one of them is a hero. No. Sorry. Right? Like, they are, when you sign up, and again, it's the government pointing them in a particular direction, whatever, right? So there should be a level of respect in our society, I think, for people that decide to do that. But I mean, the last time we were in a defensible war was World War II, right? Pretty much. Anyone want to argue with that?
I might argue Korea.
Okay, Greg. Okay. But I mean, that's like
to be fair.
Watch Letterkenny or don't. It's a strange thing, and I wonder, and I wanted to ask you this, like, after Vietnam, like, where I think we might have gone off the deep end on the other end on that, right? Where, basically, soldiers who got drafted were coming back and getting spit on by protesters.
Yeah.
They got drafted. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
standing in the airport, there's no way for you to tell that a soldier's a draftee.
Right. And like, obviously that's all kinds of wrong. But going to the other end where you don't, ever, and you bring this up, and I think rightfully, because I think we need to bring it up every time that this stupid post comes back around. The one post about losing a bunch of people in some valley or some shit like that or whatever, and it's like 10 years old, but people start throwing it around Facebook like it happened 5 seconds ago, because there's this knee-jerk reaction to be seen being supportive of our troops. Now, you're not going to vote for anyone who's going to vote to expand VA funding, because you're all voting Republican, and every single one of them want to cut the VA spending like every fucking time. So you know what I mean? Like when it comes to actual practical things, you won't do anything about it. The people that are most likely to knee-jerk share one of these things
is easy. Saying you respect the troops is easy.
Right. And you get a little
things that don't create more wounded combat veterans is difficult.
Right. Yeah. So to your point, when we talk about the Camp David meeting or whatever, and like, did you want to kind of go over? Did you explain your contrarian view yet?
My contrarian view is basically this: what better place and what better time for us to negotiate with the Taliban than on the 9/11 anniversary at Camp David? Right? It's not a Trump hotel. It's not in a foreign country. It's here, and I think a willingness to show that we would talk to them anytime, anywhere to stop the killing, not just of Americans, but those 11 other peoples that are happening on a nearly daily basis in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
It would be a statesman-like thing to do. And when you said not politically, right, I'm not talking about politically. I'm talking about statesman, from a statesman's point of view. Who is he worried about alienating? Because nothing he has done has alienated his base. 90% of Republicans approve of the job he's doing. Who's he going to alienate? Who's left to lose for Donald Trump, no matter what he does? And so I think it would be a statesman-like thing to do.
Yeah.
And probably have, it would be effective.
And to your point, anything that reduces the number of pointless deaths, and every single one of those deaths in Afghanistan is pointless.
They are now,
which is really, really hard to talk about, but that is a fact, right? Like that, it's not comfortable. And having never been, over there and gone through some of the things that people, in our military have gone through over there, I can't even imagine what that must be like. Vote in better fucking people. Demand more.
The 5 or 6 men, and it's all men that I happen to know who were there, will have all told me in the past 3 years that they felt like that their lives and childhoods were wasted, that we didn't accomplish anything that we set out to do there, that what we finally accomplished there that was worthy didn't happen there. It happened in Pakistan, which was the bagging of Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
And even now that's looking more and more hollow, because the killing continued, the acts of terrorism continued.
It didn't mean anything.
It didn't mean anything. And it's the same experience the Russians had. So
yeah. So I guess my only
for decades over that.
Yeah, right. I guess my major hang up is that we're basically ceding we're ceding global political power to the Russians, because they're the ones that are actually managing this conversation with the Taliban, which is basically like in the dictionary now, next to fucking irony, is the country that got destroyed by being in a war with Afghanistan for 20 years and losing is now helping a feckless, completely owned president in the United States try and extract us. You know what I mean? Like, this is such a good look for Putin that it's unreal.
Yeah, and if Trump was 3 shades smarter and better staffed, he would see the value in ending our conflict with the Taliban in Afghanistan on the 9/11 anniversary.
Well, and he should have done it on his terms, not because Daddy organized it. But I mean, that's the only way that he's ever done anything.
Yeah. By the way, the only reason we know about this story is because of Russian state media.
Right?
On that, no American journalists were in the loop on this, but Russian state media released it a day before anybody over here had it. So yeah, the Russians are driving our foreign policy.
Yeah,
I feel really good about that. I feel really, really good about that.
It's really good.
Yeah, so there's a pretty good Outside the Beltway article about this, and I'm going to paste the link in just so if anybody wants to read up on it. Now, Holly Brown in the comments places duct tape over her mouth. She says, "Iranian hostage crisis," and I'm looking for context for that statement, because I feel like maybe I got something wrong here, and I want to make sure that you have a chance to tell me what you think there, Holly. I know you served, and I know you're knowledgeable about these things. So please, if you feel like elucidating in the thread, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, like there's two guys who've never gone to war. So I mean, we have opinions about it. We have our show. We're gonna fucking talk about all the shit we talk about. One thing that I absolutely commit to is if I get something wrong, please correct me, because I don't want that. I don't want that out there, and I'm not always going to be right. Like that, the experience that people have actually operating in that space, it far surpasses mine. So
I wonder if what she's maybe after is that we were negotiating with the Iranians while they held our hostages.
Oh,
right? We were negotiating with them, and Iran-Contra happened as a way to try and get them, free. So I'm wondering if that's been
maybe. Yeah, Holly, just don't put duct tape over your mouth for anything. Fucking
right.
talk. That's why we're here. At least that's why I think we're here.
Okay, so I have another little video that I want to share.
Go on.
And this is creating much rage in my heart today. It's attached to a tweet by Qasim Rashid. Republicans who say, I just want them to migrate legally, are awfully quiet when refugees are escaping a horrific hurricane, following protocol, and yet get denied entry because the U.S. government keeps changing what's legal at the last second. Reprehensible. Cruelty is the point. And I'm going to share a short video that was shot by Brian Enton. He's a Florida journalist, South Florida journalist. Hundreds like Renard Oliver and his baby now had to get off the ferry from Freeport, Bahamas to Florida. He was trying to evacuate, told he could leave with Bahamian passport and police record like normal, but then the ferry crew said the U.S. government called and changed the plan at the last minute. Did you know about this?
No. What?
They made get off the fucking boat. Ordinarily, you can travel from the Bahamas to the United States without a visa. You just have to have your passport and a print copy of your police record to make sure we're not letting somebody in who's dangerous. Okay? That's been a normal means of getting back and forth from the Bahamas for decades. Okay? So they were all told that they could, yes, the rules apply, you can get on the boat, no problem. And then this happened.
What is happening? I don't have any volume.
Oh, shit. I know why. All right, I didn't do the use computer audio thing. Here we go. All right, so this is a Bahamian refugee sharing his story.
They just got a call from CBP, and CBP told them that everyone that doesn't have a U.S. visa and who's traveling on police record has to come off.
And normally you can travel, right, with police record?
Yeah, normally you can use police record by way of airplane at least, yeah.
So you have to take your baby off?
Yes, I have to take her off, yeah.
I mean, how do you feel?
At the last minute like this, it's kind of disappointing. It's hurtful because watching my daughters cry, but yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. So about 75 people that were on that ferry had to get off. They had gathered up everything they could carry to get safely to the United States to try and recover from the storm, as they normally would. And Customs and Border Patrol called the ship's crew directly and said, nope, they have to get off. Why?
Okay. So, Orange McGee, a couple seconds ago, it's actually about 40 minutes ago. I just lost the tweet. Dag nabbit. He's in talking about the fact that he has absolutely nothing to do with the Turnberry Airport in Scotland. Because, I mean, he's just so heavily on the Air Force leaders just ordered a probe. Okay, so I'm trying to find Fucktart's tweet. Not that I'm disrespecting the president. Just kidding. I totally am. He doesn't deserve any respect. Like at all. Just in case anyone was wondering. And the reason I want to actually dig into this and read the actual whole thing is because it follows such an amazing pattern. Oh my God. And it's because there's 3 of them in a row. So this is the one that I saw. I know nothing about an Air Force plane landing at an airport, which I do not own and have nothing to do with, which the second part is a lie. Near Turnberry Resort, which I do own in Scotland, and filling up with fuel with the crew staying overnight at Turnberry. They have good taste. Oh my God, I didn't know the crew fucking stayed at his hotel.
Both ways, on the way there and on the way back.
They stayed at his resort.
On the way there and on the way back.
I thought they just bought fuel. Oh my God.
No, but they've bought $17 million worth of fuel.
Yeah. At an airport that is otherwise losing business and might close down. And if it closes down, then his fucking golf course goes away.
Right.
Like that. And so what I heard, and I want to find confirmation about this, apparently Giuliani was the point person who was talking to the State Department who organized this. Right? So, like, Giuliani, who deserves every amount of fucking, like, shit that's coming his way, they're just breaking laws for him left, right, and center, and he's going to be fine. Right? Like, because he can say, like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't fucking have anything to do with this. He just wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and Giuliani goes and does his bidding like a fucking idiot. Anyway, so right next to this tweet, I had nothing to do with the decision of our great VP Mike Pence to stay overnight at one of the Trump-owned resorts in Dudeburg, Ireland, which is a lie. Mike's family has lived in Dudeburg for many years, and he thought that during his very busy European visit, he would stop and see his family. Also probably a lie. Yeah. Like probably like his family, meaning like 9 generations removed. Fucking hell. Yeah, I mean, it's just...
Even several people in the comments reminding us that they had to go out of pocket. Their per diem didn't cover the food at Turnberry. It was too expensive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good question. Jeremy Bump is asking, I have one question. If there was a major whatever and we Americans became refugees, who would take us?
Honestly, everyone.
Yeah.
That's the point. Right?
But
like,
I see his point is, what are we showing the world? We used to take the example for how you treat a refugee.
And that's the thing, because the rest of the world are still not run by, because it's not the American people doing this. It's just like 40% of them picked the dumbest president in living memory, right?
Living.
Okay, any memory. Yeah, like the second. Well, I mean, 9/11 was the first thing that I could remember, whatever, right? Like all sorts of planes get stopped in the ground, right?
Yep.
And all I remember is Canadians calling the airports asking if they could take Americans in so they didn't have to get a hotel room.
Make me cry on the internet because that was a hell of a story,
right?
It's Gander, Newfoundland,
and it would happen again, all over the place.
Yeah,
that's just.
You know who I know would take us in? Canadians and Mexicans.
Yeah,
100% sure of that.
They would.
All right. So let's move on a little bit here. JP Morgan has created what they call a Volfife index.
Oh no.
Yes. Basically they've started.
Is this real? I saw the headline. I didn't think it was real. So it's Covfefe like combined with volatility.
Right. Basically when Trump tweets, it affects the market, and they now have a sort of
they have a measurement for that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Which way the market's going to move depending on what he says.
So yeah, this is more tweets from Fuckface McGee. The Trump administration has achieved more, other than grammar, in the first 2.5 years of its existence than perhaps any administration in the history of our country. That is like an unbelievable fucking lie. And every Trump supporter that I've talked to thinks that is true.
Yeah. I guess they never heard of Richard Nixon, who accomplished more than the president. Dude, I guess they never heard of Ronald Reagan.
Obama accomplished more in the first 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, oh, whatever,
I just thought I'd name 2 Republicans right off the hop.
No, that was smart. That's a lot smarter.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elizabeth makes a point. Who'd want us? We're poorly educated and monolingual. I was funny. I watched the Formula One Italian Grand Prix yesterday. I've been watching them every Sunday morning. And on the radio communications, when you're watching a Formula One Grand Prix, these are drivers from all over the world, from Japan, from all over Europe, from South America. They speak English on the radios. It's the official radio language of Formula One. And the official radio language of aviation worldwide is English, right? Pilots from all countries have to learn enough English to get by in air control systems all over the world. They speak English. And we don't speak any other languages, right? If tomorrow the international aviation language changed to Chinese, I would gamble that 50% of the world's airline pilots from outside the U.S. could adapt to that in a matter of days.
Yep.
And I would imagine maybe 5% of American pilots could adapt to that.
Sorry for the 180, but you need to hear this.
Yeah.
Again, from the Orange Mushroom Dick. Great news that an activist investor is now involved with AT&T as the owner of very low rating CNN. Perhaps they will now put a stop to all the fake news emanating from its non-credible anchors. Also, I hear that because of its bad ratings, it is losing a fortune.
So that's going to show up on the Wolfife index.
Well, and this is the thing. An activist investor means somebody like that will destroy CNN,
right,
and control it, or at least try to, right?
And that's a coded message to to Commerce Secretary.
This is a
SEC, to all the people he's appointed to take action to make this happen, or to not take action to stop it.
This is a fascist authoritarian takeover of the United States government.
Yeah,
like it just is. This is why, like, and yes, I still think he's going to lose, but more and more, I think that they've already threatened the Ukrainian government to investigate Biden, which is fucking amazing, right? They're literally messing with diplomatic engagements internationally because they want Biden investigated for like nothing. So, and they want help with the election. He's like literally putting out there that he wants help with the election. Every single one of the non-paper backed election machines can get hacked. Every one of them could get hacked. And even if it's a 10% swing, the fucker could steal it.
Yep.
Because that's what Putin would do. Right? Like we could be in for another 4 years or fucking 20. Because if he wins re-election this time, it's over. Because he could get another 8. They're literally like, what are they going to do? Unless they impeached him. But like he also tweeted out this morning, 94% approval rating among Republicans.
It's closer to 85, but whatever.
That's true. Can't trust anything he says.
No.
But still, 85% is fucking unreal.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing from conservatives, mostly on your podcast, that real Republicans don't support Donald Trump, but 90% of Republicans do. So
yeah, no, I mean, I only talk to the never Trumpers because I don't have.
They're a very small minority at this point.
They always have been. And what's really funny is, and I hint with Rio about this all the time. It's cool that you're on side now. All of this is your fault, right?
Yeah.
The Southern strategy, and he's been arguing against the Southern strategy for a long time. Cool. Did you vote Republican at any time during that time? Sure, you did.
Right.
So, as long as you're exceptionally privileged from birth standing is okay, this was all fine until it was like, oh, wait a minute, we're going to have an authoritarian fascist takeover. Yeah. But that was always coming, right? You've been playing to this nonsense for 50 years.
Look at Hunter S. Thompson warned us about that in about 1972.
Yeah.
And eventually blew his brains out. When I never lose sight of the fact that Hunter S. Thompson killed himself right after George W. Bush was elected. Right after 9/11.
That checks out.
I think he saw this coming more clearly than we did because he was embedded with those people. He spent a lot of time with those people.
Yeah.
And for all those shenanigans and the pretending to do a lot of heavy drugs and drinking heavily, he was an extremely astute political observer. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is not just about that culture. Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail, by the way, is a collection of essays we should all sit down and read today because it's really, really amazing. This is not something new or not surprising to me. And I was much more conservative when I was younger than I am now. I'm just disappointed in people that haven't gotten there yet, despite all the evidence showing us that this is coming. So, speaking of impeachment, I've got a Twitter link, and Twitter links don't show up really well. Not everybody has Twitter. Nicholas Fandos, who is a congressional correspondent for the New York Times, I got a hold of a draft copy of the House Judiciary Committee's resolutions laying out impeachment procedures and due process for President Trump. It is likely to get a vote this week. Here is what it says. The President's Counsel may respond in writing to information and testimony presented to the committees in open session. Also, committee staff would be allowed to question a witness for an additional hour, equally divided between the majority and the minority. The resolution also raises the possibility that judiciary subcommittees, smaller, nimbler bodies, will play a role in the investigation going forward. So it's happening. The vote on whether to proceed and what the procedure will look like is happening this week. So take a deep breath, right? Understand we are in a crisis, and the garbage truck is coming down the street, but there is time for us to save our democracy. And I'm not excited about impeachment, but I think it's got to happen. And it's got to happen regardless of what the Senate's going to do with it.
Right. Is Pelosi seeing the writing on the wall as far as the possibility of having the presidency just stolen?
I don't know.
Because that, like, I'm operating under the presumption that you do the right thing because you do the right thing, blah, 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 blah. I'm a fucking guitar player who lives in bumfuck fucking Florida, right? Who gives a fuck what I think?
Right.
But could very easily have intel on just how many of our voting systems are hacked. She has a conversation with Stacey Abrams about the fact that, like, frickin' Kemp just completely and totally fucked over Georgia because he felt like it.
Yep.
Right? That, ostensibly with no help from the Russians, although I'm sure they taught him how to do it or whatever, right? Like, who knows? But it happened. So if it could happen there, it could happen literally everywhere, and probably is to one extent or another.
And now the FEC doesn't have a quorum.
And the funding's been cut, and, right? Like, that's the perfect storm of, like, I keep saying, if it's 2%, 3%, we need to worry about that. But I could very well be completely wrong about that. Maybe what if it's a 10% swing compared to the polls, and they're just like, oh, polls are fucking fake news. And then there we are. And then the only remedy in 2020 is impeachment.
Right.
Right. And just the constant, whittling down of that kind of thing. This is a thing, like Democrats need to get, like, all the way into the squad level of messaging. They and, like, is it Amy Porter, Katie Porter, whatever the hell her name is?
Yep.
She's fucking fantastic too.
Katie Porter,
thank you. Just super, super smart. Anyway.
Maria Richardson popped up with a link, and I was actually have that on my list to talk about. Someone's got to tell the truth. It's a dictatorship. Fear is probably his most powerful weapon. Who are we talking about? Jerry Falwell. Jerry Falwell's aides break their silence about Liberty University.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's like, it's almost chatter. You know what I mean? It's almost background. Craziness. I can tell you the best article, and I haven't read the whole thing. I'm working on it. I'm maybe a third of the way through it. I'm going to link this from The Atlantic this morning. The Atlantic has an amazing article out about the history of the Trump family and the Trump children, and their inner discussions about the presidency and what it meant, that they were all prepared to make a lot of money on him losing and had to completely change how they did business on the day. And Ivanka was the first one to, like, intercept and put herself between her father and the rest of the siblings and lobby for a position in the White House. So that's interesting. And part of it takes place in your part of the world. The opening part of the story is about Friedrich Trump, Trump's grandfather, and his opening a series of brothels along the Yukon Trail. Oh, man.
It's good business right there.
Tried to re-emigrate to Germany. They called him a draft dodger. He ended up taking his money and going to New York. But it all started between Seattle and the Yukon.
Crazy pants.
Yeah.
All right, party animals. I got to run. I got to go ice my knees because, and I think I need to get, like, a bench. Yeah, we're doing. We're actually going to cover the entire 30-page proposal from Yang for the climate.
Nice. For those of you who don't know, Corey does a podcast called Moving Forward, and it's a brilliant idea. It's he and a conservative named Rio. I almost called him Rio Ferdinand. That's a soccer player. Rio
Verdinier.
Okay.
You just got to put your pinky up when you say that. Verdinier.
To be fair. Rio and Corey do a really good job of trying to find common ground. And the common ground that they're mostly finding is Andrew Yang's candidacy. And I continue to believe that Andrew Yang is an excellent candidate who will never poll above 5%. I would love for him to be more fully in the conversation, but I think strategically he is. He's making all of the benchmarks to be on the debate stage, and the longer he's in the race, the better it's going to be for the eventual nominee as far as policy position goes.
Hey,
Yeah.
You want to make $100K Schipul bet that he's going to pull over 5% at some point?
Nope, I don't.
Why not? It's for fun.
Because I don't firmly believe it. It's my gut feeling is.
All right.
If he's one of the last 6 people in the race, then certainly he'll pull above 5.
Yeah, and I think he's got the infrastructure to last that long.
I hope so.
I mean, I am sympathetic to your point.
Right. So we have debates coming up tomorrow night, Tuesday night.
For real, tomorrow night? I thought it was Saturday.
I don't know why I thought it was tonight. I don't know. Tomorrow night. Let me
figure it out.
Yeah. Did we stream them last night? I can't remember.
Last time?
I
think that we did, and I think that we should. Or maybe it was the first ones. I don't remember. That might have been during my week off. I don't know.
September
Either way,
12th.
We probably should. Yeah, no, I don't think we did, because I think I remember I had to hear it all secondhand because I was in my
I think I streamed them actually. Okay, September 12th, which is Thursday night.
All right.
So you want to stream them?
Yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
All right, let's do that. All right, so we'll be doing that as a special show, of course, and coming up this week, hashtag coffee every day, where I'm sure more new stuff will happen. A 9th Republican congressman announced he's not running for re-election. I think the 6th one from Texas. So it's entirely possible that Texas is a lot more blue or purple.
Texas is in play, man. That
very much so.
It's a brave new world.
Oh, that's right. Donna says y'all did the first one, but the second one was blocked by the network. Remember, we started picking up some steam and had a lot of viewers, and then bloop, they blipped us off the air.
Oh yeah, fucking assholes.
Stupid CNN. So maybe we'll find another way to do that.
Jerkwads.
Right.
What we could do is maybe we could go. I wonder if going live to YouTube would block it out too. Probably would.
No. We could find out.
We could find out.
Yeah,
we could record it too, and then just post it.
That's a thought.
I mean,
I don't know.
That way, like worst case scenario, we have 40 of our closest friends who could come into the Zoom with us, right? Because we could take 40 people.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why don't we just do that and do it as a party, and then that way, like worst case scenario, the rest of Facebook is screwed, but we have our family here.
I'm sure there's at least 8 or 10 people in the thread right now that would join us to watch the debate and talk about it.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. All right, cool. Let's do that. I'm gonna go ice my knees and I think get a fucking stool because this stand-up desk thing is gonna kill me for 7 hours.
All right, guys, we love you very much.
Okay.
We think hey, Sasquatch is real. Yada yada. Have a great Monday, and we will see you tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
Boom. All right, we're still recording. Is there anything you want to tell our like, in case you missed it, fans?
Yeah, just letting people know that they can go to solocal.live and make a donation to keep us in the style to which we've become accustomed.
Poor.
But yeah, we definitely will accept donations to keep us functioning. Doing it this way on Zoom is happening because we have some donations that are making that possible, and we'd like to improve what we can do on the show, and we need your help to do so.
And if you did listen either on podcast or YouTube to this show, if you have any comments, questions, or if you just want to scream to us, let us know so that we know that people are actually consuming the content that way, and that will help me to remember to actually post.
Record button.
Yeah. All right. Cool beans. Thanks, guys.